Hello, I wanted to follow up on my previous video dealing with Prop 19's tax portability, where those that are 55 and older, severely disabled, folks that have been impacted by California wildfires or natural disasters, those folks can go ahead and find a new home, a better fit for them. They're able to take their tax basis, their low property taxes that they've been paying on for years and years and years from their original purchase, and they can move it over to their new replacement home. Nothing changes. There's a huge tax savings there. One could argue, where is that money coming from? And that same person probably would make a good argument that it's coming from the increase in taxes, revenue that's going to be created because of the other half of Prop 19, and that has to do with the Intergenerational Transfer Rules that have been created since its passage and now enactment in February of this year, 2021. Little history. Before Prop 19, a parent or a grandparent could go ahead and transfer the property to a child or a grandchild, and that child or grandchild could go ahead and enjoy that same low property tax that grandma and grandpa have been paying on for many, many years, or mom and dad have been paying on for many, many years. They didn't even have to move into it. They could even put a tenant in there, make money off the property, and they'd still have that same low property tax that mom and dad, grandma and grandpa were enjoying for many, many years. Today, it's changed. If you do move into a property that's been transferred to you as a primary home, that's great. You're going to be able to enjoy the same low property tax. But if you don't move into it as a primary home, that's where things change. You may have a life away. You may have jobs, you have family, friends, your kids have friends, they've got the schools they love. It just doesn't make sense to move back into mom and dad or grandpa and grandpa's house. It just doesn't. In that scenario, you're going to still accept the property. That's fine. But the property tax is going to be based on the current market value. If you put a tenant into it and don't claim it as your primary, you're going to have a big step up in property tax based on today's current value. Okay. There are some exceptions. A family farm, that's not going to be impacted. That can, retain that same low tax base that it's always been. That's great. And you do need to go ahead and make the transfer within 1 year. And there's even some scenarios where even if you do move into the home as your primary residence, if that primary residence is worth more than $1 million, more than the original tax basis, then you're going to get a reassessment in that scenario as well, even as your primary home. So say if mom and dad were paying property taxes based on $500,000. But today, at the time of transfer, that property that you took as your primary home is now worth $2 million. Well, it's above the $1 million threshold. So your new tax basis is going to be $1 million. Why? They basically take the $2 million that it's worth today, they subtract that threshold of $1 million, and the difference is going to be your new tax basis. So 2 minus 1. Your new tax basis is going to be based on $1 million. So even in certain scenarios, as your primary home, it's going to trigger a reassessment under property or Prop 19. So be aware, I'm not a tax professional. Talk to a tax professional. Talk to your CPA as you consider what you may want to do with this property to be, transferred over to you. It could have some major implications, but you do have some options. If you got questions as far as the real estate aspect of it, I would certainly want you to feel comfortable approaching me. You know the number, 805-710-9060. Thanks very much. Sorry for the long video, but it's important stuff.